I've mentioned before that I'm in a Mario Kart league that does time trial competitions every week. I've got a really busy work week ahead of me, and wouldn't you know it, I'm the one who picks what time trial we're going to be doing. So of course my first thought was, you know what, let's just pick a track where you're literally driving in circles the whole time, because that should result in a really quick turnaround on the tutorial. 3 hours of time trialing later, I realized, you know what, I might have screwed up here. Welcome to part 89 of Basic Training, where we're going to cover everything you need to know about Baby Park on 200cc. As always, we're going to cover the recommended builds, mushroom strats, coin lines, and other advanced tips and tricks to help you start mastering the course. This tutorial is going to be broken down into 3 parts. In part 1, I'm going to go over a basic version of the run that won't include any advanced strategies whatsoever, and is designed to be widely reproducible so that you can easily conquer the Staff Coast. In part 2, I'm going to go over the strategies that I use in my current personal best. Finally, in part 3, I'm going to go over the world record strategies. To help put all the different strategies into context, I'm also going to be including a full replay in each part of the tutorial. Before we get into the video, just want to say that if you've been finding these tutorials useful, I'd really appreciate if you dropped a like and a comment. This type of thing not only lets me know that you're enjoying the content, but also lets YouTube know to recommend these videos to other racers who might be looking for tips and tricks on how to improve. I release a new video every week, so hit that subscribe button and the notification bell beside it so that you can stay up to date with all my latest content. With all that out of the way, let's jump into the tutorial, and I hope that you brought some tissues, because like the babies for which this park is named, this course is probably going to make you cry. The recommended build for this course is Waluigi, Mr. Scooty, Azure Rollers, and Paper Glider. This is a slight variation on our usual try-hard build that replaces Mr. Scooty with Bitty Buggy, and the choice of cart here is actually pretty important. I mentioned this in my Rainbow Road 150cc tutorial, but the thing is that Bitty Buggy has a ginormous hitbox, and in order to play Baby Park optimally, we're going to need to get super close to some walls, and the smaller hitbox of Mr. Scooty is going to be a lot better for that. Now once you've gotten the basics down, you're going to want to switch to Baby Daisy instead of Waluigi, but fair warning, as we're going to see shortly, the baby strats on this course are really challenging to pull off. That's enough of that though, let's check out the track. Despite my foreshadowing in the intro, the level 1 run really doesn't have that much going on aside from driving around in circles. Hold down the item button before the race starts so that you can use your first mushroom at the very beginning of the run. You also want to be angling yourself slightly to the left so that when you start your first right drift, you'll be in a good line to grab the 2 coins around the first turn. By the way, since this first turn occurs on the blue section of the track, I'm going to refer to this as the blue turn for the rest of the video. The other right turn appears in the pink section of the track, and I'm going to refer to that as the pink turn for the rest of the video. Now, even though there are a ton of grass patches here, with the Waluigi build, you can literally just drift over all the grass patches on 200cc, so there's not really a great place to use your mushrooms. So while we will be using the other 2 mushrooms to cut the grass, it really doesn't save that much time compared to just using it over a straightaway. Now after grabbing those 2 coins, release your Super Mini Turbo and hang out on the left side of the track to grab the next 3 coins. After grabbing the first of these coins, start a right drift and then hold left on the joystick to widen your drift angle. The goal here is to grab the 4 coins around the outside of the pink turn, but this will probably require some practice. After the pink turn though, pretty much every lap plays out the same. After releasing each of your Super Mini Turbos, you're going to start a right drift and then hold left to widen your drift angle a bit, and then just before the track starts turning, hold a hard right and you should be able to drift clean over the grass, no problem. Once you get off the grass, release your Super Mini Turbo, quickly start another right drift, widen your drift angle, and drift over the grass to finish the lap. If you do decide to shroom through the grass like I do on laps 2 and 3, use them as early as you can, otherwise what will happen is that your mushroom boost won't run out in time and you'll be going too fast to avoid running into the wall. If you are about to run into the wall, then just release your Super Mini Turbo as soon as you hit the wall and you should be good to go. That's literally all there is to the level 1 strats, so let's take a look at a full replay. Alright, moving on to level 2, you'll notice that we've moved on to the baby build. Pretty much all the differences in strategy come from the very start of the run. Just like before, we're going to use a mushroom as soon as the race begins, but then we're only going to veer slightly to the left at the start and follow it up with a series of right hops to hug the blue turn as tightly as we possibly can. Ideally, as we'll see in the world record, we want to pretty much be bonking the inside of the wall here, but I don't execute this strat particularly well in my PB. I don't usually have a set amount of hops that I try and do, in the sense that I'm not like actively counting hops while I do this. The way that I think about the strat is, go slightly left at the start, and then hop as many times as you need to make sure that you're facing in a 180 from the direction that you started in, at which point you can use your second mushroom. Now after using the second mushroom, the goal with the next straightaway is to grab the 3 coins, start your next right drift, but then before building up the mini turbo, do 2 right hops into the grass and use the third mushroom. The rest of the run actually plays out pretty similarly to the level 1 run, where we're going to start a right drift, drift over the grass, and then release whatever level of mini turbo you've got built up. There are a couple things to point out though. Ideally, what you want to be doing is exactly what I do on lap 3. Build up an ultra mini turbo around the blue turn, immediately start a right drift, and then bonk into the wall before drifting over the second patch of grass and building up a super mini turbo. This wall bonk is actually really important, by the way. The main reason is that bonking the wall in this way changes your alignment slightly, and this change in alignment is going to make it much easier to cut the patch of grass around the pink turn. See, the main benefit of the Waluigi build is that it's got a much higher ground speed stat, and so when you drift over the grass, you almost don't even need to think about it on 200cc. The problem with the baby build is that it's so much slower that if you don't get a good angle going into the grass, there's a decent chance that you'll lose all your speed. Now the main benefit of the Baby Daisy build is that with a fair bit of practice, you can ultra mini turbo around every turn in this track. Again though, only if you manage to get a decent wall bonk before going into the turn. It's actually a lot harder to do than it looks though, and I don't even think it looks particularly easy here. And that's why you'll see in my PB that I basically just give up attempting to get ultra mini turbos after lap 4. Last thing to mention about these wall bonk ultra mini turbos, like I mentioned already, is that it is possible to do on every turn in the track. But, as we'll see when we talk about the world record strats, the blue turn adds a special slice of hell that I pretty much just try and avoid altogether. The only other notable thing about my PB is the coin lines. You'll notice that I skipped the coin line recap in level 1, because the level 1 coin lines are super suboptimal. I set this PB back in January of 2021 when the world record would grab 3 coins on lap 1 and 3 coins on lap 2. Here's the deal. Grabbing the extra coins on the pink turn in lap 1 is really slow. And while it does give you a speed increase for the rest of the run, the track is so short that the thinking originally was that you just don't have enough time to take advantage of this extra speed. So the old world records used to just not grab those extra 4 coins. And that's the strategy that I copied. We're going to see something slightly different when we get back to the world record, but for now that's all there is to mention about the PB strats. So let's check out the replay. Finally, moving on to the world record strats, there are 3 major differences. The first is once again at the start of the run. Just like before, we're going to use a mushroom at the start of the run and grab the 3 coins on the right hand side of the track. But now, after grabbing the second coin, we're going to start a right drift and then hold a hard left on the joystick to widen our drift angle. The goal is to basically do what we did in level 1, which is to grab the 4 coins in the pink turn, which will give us 7 coins by the end of lap 1. When grabbing these 4 coins, the world record builds up an ultra mini turbo. They then release, and just before the start of lap 2, they start a right drift into a wall bonk into super mini turbo around the blue turn. And yes, it's a super mini turbo, not an ultra mini turbo. I'm not 100% sure why, but if I had to guess, I'd say that it's probably because on lap 2, they need to grab the 3 coins and then use their last mushroom to cut the grass. And if they built up an ultra mini turbo around the blue turn on lap 2, it would mess up their alignment when going into the pink turn. Again though, I'm just speculating here, I'm not exactly sure whether or not that's correct, but that's the only reason I can think of. Now that's the second major difference between the world record and my PB. The last major difference occurs just after the pink turn. Remember how I said that the ultra mini turbo going into the blue turn is just awful? Well, this big archway is the reason why. You might notice that it juts just a little bit into the left-hand side of the track. When we did the ultra mini turbo through the patch of grass on the pink turn, it wasn't too problematic because we can pretty much start the right drift and make our way to the wall unimpeded. However, when we come out of the pink turn, we'll be in the middle of an ultra mini turbo boost, which makes it a lot harder to control our kart. Furthermore, we need to be in a position when releasing our ultra mini turbo after the pink turn that allows us to start a right drift, avoid the left-hand side of the archway, and then bonk into the wall immediately after the archway. Just watching this part of the world record run in slow motion should give you an idea of how ludicrously tight the timing and precision needs to be to pull this off properly, because like I mentioned earlier in the video, if you don't go into the grass with a good angle, you'll lose all of your speed before making it through the grass. And if you don't bonk the wall in just the right place, then you won't go into the grass with a good angle. This right here though is why the baby build is so powerful on this track. If you've got the timing down, then you can spend pretty much the entire run in an ultra mini turbo boost. That being said though, even if you're only able to get it on the blue turn, you should still be able to get a better time with the baby build than with the Waluigi build. Now let's take a look at a full replay of the world record before closing out the video. And that's everything you need to know about Baby Park on 200cc. It's actually a pretty complex track given how short it is, and it's got some pretty interesting strategies. It's only too bad that you can be the best time trialer in the world and still just get dumped on completely by bad luck when racing online. But that's going to be it for this video, guys. Let me know down in the comments if and how much time you were able to save from following the advice laid out in this video, because I'd love to hear from you. Thank you very much for taking the time out of your day to do some basic training, and as always, I'll see you in the next video.